Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of El Local Podcast 831. I am your host, Eddie Gonzalez, and today we have barber, entrepreneur, Anaya. What's up, Andy?
What's up, Eddie?
How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. Thank you for having me here.
I appreciate you coming on. You are a barber, a local barber.
Correct.
You are an entrepreneur because you have a couple businesses.
Correct.
And you're a local guy. So
born and raised here in Watsonville.
Born and raised in Watsonville, and I love that. It's great to see people that are born and raised in a hometown grow up and become business owners. That's something special. And so, right into it really quick. How does that feel to be a homegrown, born and raised in Watsonville and own a business in here?
Well, it's stressful. No, it's not stressful. It's actually amazing. It's really cool because I feel like the youth, or we're able to show the youth that if you have any dreams, you can go ahead and do them. Yeah. And it's doable for the youth to be able to do whatever they want to do. When I go to the schools, that's exactly what I tell them. I'm like, dude, if I'm able to do it, I'm born and raised here. You guys can do it as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so as we get into your, like you said, you're going to schools and talking to teenagers, right? Let's give the people a little bit of insight of who Andy is. So born and raised in Watsonville. Talk about your growing up here in town and your experiences just with the city, the culture, the environment, and talk a little bit about your family coming here to Watsonville or being established here in Watsonville.
Sounds good. So, actually, it all starts with my dad. He moved to Watsonville he came over here when he was 13 years old. He didn't really have the support from his family to go to school out here, so he would just try to find jobs here and there. But he was so young that people didn't really want to hire him because he was, still considered a kid,
minor,
he was a kid. So it was really hard for him to find jobs. Luckily, there was a guy that was able to give him a couple of jobs here and there, just to for him to buy food and get by.
Yeah.
But he went back to Mexico, met my mom, got married, and it's funny because my dad's side of the family, they're all in Chicago, and my mom's side of the family, they're all here in Watsonville.
Okay.
So it was when they got married, it was okay, so are we going to Chicago or are we going to California?
Yeah.
And I'm sure in most relationships, you do what the girl wants. So, so my mom was like, well, I don't like Chicago because it's so cold, so we're going to have to go to California. And that's how we ended up here. As soon as they came here, I believe my mom was 16 and my dad was 18, and that's when they had me. And ever since we've been here. We've been here in Watsonville. Yeah. So that's how we got established here in Watsonville.
Okay. No, that's awesome. Chicago is, like you said, very cold. It's funny because my grandmother was born in Chicago. So I have some sort of ties out there. But she came over here and during the Great Depression and got deported. So that's a whole other thing. But your parents are here in Watsonville. You're growing up. What do you remember mostly about growing up here in town?
Well, I'm from 1990, so growing up was actually pretty cool because we didn't have no social medias.
Mm-hmm. So the good old days.
The good old days. So I just remember we would in my neighborhood we would skate, bike, play a lot of soccer. I'm a soccer player, so we would play a lot of soccer and bike. Yeah, no phones. Nobody had phones. So we would have to all just, try to find something to do after school, which was awesome. It was really cool. I remember we would even play hide and go seek. I even remember playing marbles, man. Marbles was huge when I was in elementary school. I remember they used to make a circle and it was 100 marbles and just everybody
trying to get them.
Yeah, I remember it was so much fun, dude. I don't know what happened to all that. Even if I try to buy marbles right now, I don't even know where you can buy some.
Right? Do you remember Pogs?
Pogs. Is that the?
It's the little circles. You
Oh,
flip them around.
yeah.
You got a little hard one, and you just like throw it on the floor, and you got to try to flip them over.
I remember that. I never got to play them, but
Mhm.
I remember them.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else do I remember from my childhood? I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. From growing up here in Watsonville. Once I got to high school, it was more strictly just soccer.
Soccer. So you're a soccer player.
Yeah.
And I mean, the entire town is soccer, right?
Yeah.
Soccer is king here in Watsonville.
I was about to say that in Watsonville is like, I think, if I'm not mistaken, like at least 70% soccer, and then everything else it divides like football,
basketball, baseball. Yeah. But soccer is king in this town.
It is.
I remember also being part of the Penny Club out there.
Yeah.
Where St. Francis High School is, and the soccer fields, and being out there, and so that's the first thing I remember. Being born, and bam, here's a soccer ball, here's a cleats right there, ready for you to go.
Yeah, I also do remember going to the Ramsey Park.
Oh yeah,
inside the building, the small little building when you go into the driveway to the right.
Oh yeah, the little facility there.
I remember they used to do a tournament for futbolitos, and it was so cool. I used to love doing those tournaments.
Oh yeah, I remember that too.
I'm not
at the time. Well, still the city of Watsonville, the Parks and Community Services Department, Parks and Rec. But yeah, that was like the place to be. Ramsey,
It was really cool.
Yeah, I remember those foosball days. They had a
foosball. They had basketball for whoever wanted to play basketball. They had a couple of other games, like you can play chess, checkers, cards, whatever you wanted. It was a cool little spot.
Yeah. And so this is interesting because we talked, last time I got my hair done by you. You're a soccer player and you attended PV High School.
Correct.
And you are part of the only CCS championship of that school.
Of the school, yeah. Till this day.
That's the only CCS championship that PV High has brought over.
Correct. That was in 2008. We landed the CCS title, and till this day, we're like literally the only CCS champs.
Yeah.
They've been close. They've been to the final a couple of times these past couple of years, but they haven't been able to lock it in.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Talk about the skills that you learn, not physically, but I guess mentally, and as a character, your character, right? That you learn through playing soccer. Because when you play as a kid, you're playing, you're learning. But when you get to like a competitive, when it counts, like in high school, you start to pick up more life lessons, work ethics. And so what was your takeaway in those years while you're playing high school soccer?
I feel like it's like just like any other team. The coach plays like not only like the coach part, but like also like the role model role. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you become somewhat who you are in life, even after the sport, just because you build all these relationships with your team. It's funny that we're talking about this because just this year, since 2008, when we won CCS champs, the whole team kind of just went their own way.
Yeah.
Somewhat. Like we would still stay in contact and whatnot. But right now, currently, we're playing indoor. Mm-hmm. Like the whole team from 2008, 15 years later or whatnot, we came back and like we're playing right now. And we've played 4 games so far and we're undefeated. And it's so cool because everybody's still the same. Everybody still laughs the same. Everybody's doing still well. So it's really cool because I feel like what we built during that time, it was just like a family.
Yeah.
And we built what we built was a family, and what we built as characters, like individually, was like everybody like went on the right path.
Yeah.
And if we ever saw somebody, going, something they weren't supposed to, we would kind of like all get together and be like, bro. Mm-hmm. And I think just that bond,
Yeah. And that's great because that you're still able to like hold that connection, 15 or so years later.
Yeah.
And you guys coming back together and like it's like nothing's ever changed.
Yeah.
That's
why I always I cut like the youth kids or high school kids or whatever that I cut. I always ask them like, hey bro, are you gonna play any sports? And I'm not telling them because of the physical part. I'm telling them more because of like the relationships that they can build. Because I've noticed that the ones that do join, either, I mean, it doesn't matter what sport, but that join a team, they seem more happy to go to school. Obviously, they're gonna have close friends in inside the team, and it really helps. And then I've seen the ones that don't play sports, and I can see the difference because they'll be like, like, I don't, not that they don't want to go to school, but they don't look forward for nothing.
Yeah.
Just, it's just cool.
Yeah, it's just go to school. I got to pass, whatever. But they don't. Nothing excites them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do agree. Like, if you could ever, just to anyone, right, that is a leader with youth and all that, or someone even just having a conversation, like encourage these youth to go out for something.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like even a sport, but just like a club or something to be involved.
Yeah. So I'm always pushing, like the ones that don't want to do a sport. I'm always like, bro, you should like do at least golf or do something. Like,
Yeah.
trust me, you'll build a relationship with somebody in the team or even the coach. Yeah.
Okay. And so you won CCS championship. You graduated high school. Did you jump into the barber scene right away?
I did not.
Or what path did you take right after?
Right after, just like any other high school kid, when you come out of high school, you just try to find that, you try to land that job.
Yeah.
Because now you got, I'm sure well, most people, I mean, I did. I bought my first car right away, and that was my first bill. Then I had to pay for the insurance. So I was like, damn. Yeah, but I went to college. I was at CSUMB. Also went to Cabrillo.
Did you play soccer there?
I yes and no. I did try out. I didn't like the team, and the reason was because like the level at that time. Now CSUMB, like they're pretty up there.
Yeah.
15 years ago, that level was really, really low.
Yeah.
I was literally like the best player, and I was like, I don't want to take this responsibility.
And not just that, like you win a CCS championship, and you're used to this high level.
Yeah.
You go to the next level, you expect it to be that same way.
Exactly.
And it's not.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
Yeah, but if there's any kids listening right now, it's CSUMB is like one of the best schools out there. The level of soccer has gotten pretty up there, especially because of the what's that team? Monterey
FC.
Monterey FC.
Yeah.
So yeah, the kids have like better opportunities now than we did back then.
Yeah. So you dabbled a little bit in soccer. Wasn't a fan. Did you still continue going to school?
I continued going to school. I was working part-time at an auto parts store.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I moved to a dealership. While I was there, I was able to, so I went to college for business, and I was kind of lost. So I was kind of like forced to go to college just to make my parents proud.
Yeah.
I was going for business, but I wasn't really like mentally like that's what I want to do, or I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. It just, to me, like business was like, oh, that's what I want to do. Like that sounds cool, but I had no clue what business was.
Yeah.
And I was too young to like be really, really, I guess you can say like tunnel vision into it,
Yeah.
So I was just doing it just to make my parents proud. Which, by the way, that's another thing that when I go to high schools, I always tell the kids, I'm like, I know we try to make our parents proud, but if you don't know exactly what you want to do, don't go to college just to go to college.
Yeah.
Like go to college when you feel that you have a purpose and like you know exactly what you want to do. Because especially Latinos, I feel like we graduate and just to make our parents proud is like, oh, I go to college, and then I feel like 50% of those students drop just because they didn't even know what they were going to college for. So I always tell them, like, dude, go to Cabrillo. If you don't know exactly what you want to do, just go to Cabrillo. It's cheaper. Start doing your general classes. Yeah. Once you know what you want to do, that's when you jump into a 4-year university.
I got
university.
What are your thoughts? I got a bit of a side question. And like you mentioned, like as a Latino community, as a Mexican American, first generation, second generation people, we always tend to please our parents.
Yeah.
Right? Why is that? And why do we have that pressure, you think?
I feel because since they migrated over here for us, at least for the first generation, which I'm guessing it's us. I know it's me for sure.
Yeah.
I just feel like we're like, oh, I gotta make my parents proud. And sometimes, and I have some of my clients going through it right now, where they want to do like a trade, but for their parents, for them jumping into a trade is not. It's just kind of like, oh, he's giving up in life.
Yeah.
And I tell these kids, I'm like, that's not giving up in life. Like some of these trades pay very well.
Oh yeah.
There's electricians, there's plumbers. That, yes, it's hard labor, but they're good careers.
Yeah.
And I always tell them, like, dude, like at the end of the day, like you got to look after what you want to do, and in the future you're gonna have a family. So if that's something that you want to do, go for it. Because the faster you can start your career, the faster you're gonna get that experience, and the faster you're gonna be more successful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Compared to like you go to college, like we were saying earlier, just to please your parents, but then nothing in school like really grabs your attention. So you're just wasting time. And yes, you're making your parents proud, but why do we do it? I don't know, bro. I did it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm guilty for sure. Like and it was cool because, I mean, sorry, it wasn't cool, but it was cool watching my parents be proud of me. Just because every time we would go to a party or somewhere, or oh yeah, my son goes to see it, and be like they would flex it. Yeah. But they would flex it, super proud, and then me deep down, I was like, bro, I'm going to see UMB, but I have no clue what I'm doing. Yeah. Like I'm just lost, and I hope that the new generation, at least some of the kids that I cut in my chair, I always tell them like, don't do that, bro. Don't do that. Like just be patient. Yeah. Because I feel like if you are patient, then once you do what you want to do and you become successful, then that's when your parents are going to be even more proud. Yeah. Because it's like, oh damn, this guy, like, even though he's a plumber or electrician or whatever you decide to do, but you're like deep in it, they're going to be proud to see you. Like, okay, like this guy's making good money, So
I always tell people too, like, the younger generations, like, you know what, do what you love. Right, as long as you love what you do, you're not gonna work a day in your life.
That's me right now.
But you know what? There's obviously it's a journey. You got to get there. It is. Right, and you're gonna do some jobs that everyone's had their first job, second job, odd jobs here and there. Yep. But if you work towards what you love to do, I mean, are you really working? You're not. Yeah. And so with that, like you said, that's what you're doing right now. Mm-hmm. So you go to CSUMB, you're kind of dabbling in it. You're not happy, I guess, right? And so, what's your next step? Do you jump into the barber scene around that time?
Not just yet. After that, that's when I was working at BMW, and when you work for a corporation, well, obviously, they have rules. You got to follow everything by the book. And I'm not saying that working for a corporation is bad. It's just, for me personally, I didn't see myself doing that for the rest of my life. Yeah. Especially coming from my mom, coming from a business family where they get to do, my mom is able to, because my dad, he works in the fields, he still does. But my mom, she's an entrepreneur herself, and just being able to see like how she's able to manage her life, her time, personal time as well. I was like, that's what I should be doing. Like that's freedom, and that's what I wanted, was freedom. And that's why that's when finally I jumped into the barber game. Okay,
and so you become a barber, right? Around what age did you just jump into it?
I believe I was like around 26, 27, and I was already old. That's one thing that I tell people at high schools, because that's the first question they ask me. It's like, how long have you been doing this? You've probably been doing this for so long. And I'm like, actually, no, it took me a while to like really, really like find out what I wanted. Mm-hmm. And even though 26, 27 sounds like a little bit older, it's never too late to do what you want to do. So.
Okay. What was that process like? Because I know has it changed? Is it still the same today as it is back then to become a barber? Because I know you got to go to school, and then you got to do some internships, right? So take me through that section of your life.
I got my license 5-6 years ago. At the time, yes, you would have. Well, it did change.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, you had to do a written test and a physical test. Now you only have to do a written test, which is only like I believe like an hour and a half long, and that's it. So it did change. So I think it's a lot easier nowadays to get your barber's license compared to, because I believe this changed like 3 years ago or 2 years ago. So yeah, feel like if you got your license 3 years ago or before that, then yeah, you had to do a lot more. Now it's like the state of California just changed it. And it's a little bit easier for you to get your license.
Okay. And so
the hours also changed at school.
really?
It used to be 1,500 hours. Now it's only 1,000. So it's a lot more. I made a little bit
more accessible for people
to do it. Yeah. I feel like the prices went up though.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel like back then some people were paying $2,500 to $7,000, $8,000. Now the minimum is like 10,000. Some people are paying up to 30,000 depending on the school that you decide to go to. And a lot of students ask me like, well, what do you recommend? And honestly, I think that you should do your research. Mm-hmm. If you're going to pay $30,000, like do your research on like why you're going to pay $30,000.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a car payment.
Yeah,
It's a car a loan.
Down payment. Yeah.
So, that's what I recommend. If you're going to go to like a really expensive barber school, do your research of why is it that expensive compared to like a cheaper one.
Better come out freaking best barber in the world of paying 30 grand. Yeah.
No, and I have a couple of friends that went that route, and they regretted it because the schools didn't come through with what they said they were going to provide and all that. So
that's a bummer. But yeah, do your research. So you become a barber. Did you go off on your own right away, or did you just jump into a barber shop? And how does that work when you're trying to find a job as a barber?
Yeah. When I decided I was going to become a barber and go full time as a barber, I started cutting in the just like any other barber in the garage, in my mom's porch, house calls. After that, I did that for about a year while I was going to school. I was also cutting at school. I was taking all the walk-ins at school. Once I was done with school, I graduated. I got my license, and I started working part-time at my mom's salon and part-time at a barber shop. Mm-hmm. I was doing both, and the reason why I was doing both is because I was still a rookie. Yeah. So I was trying to learn as much as I could from my mom because I know she was going to be hands-on and really, really helpful. And then I would go work at the barbershop part-time, pay their booth rent, but it was also worth it because I would learn. There was like 5 other barbers there that I was able to learn from. So yeah, that's what I did right after right after barber school.
Yeah. You obviously made some mistakes. What are the common mistakes that a young barber makes early on? And how do you change them? Right. Cause, as a person, I mean, I've gotten my haircut before. I've gotten messed up a couple of times. But what are the common mistakes that you made, or just common mistakes that a rookie makes, and how do they move on or grow from that?
Well, there's a lot of mistakes that you can do, because when you become a barber, you got to keep in mind that you're your own boss.
Yeah.
Even though, yes, there's going to be a shop owner, but you're still your own boss. You're still, you're renting that booth, meaning that's your space. You can do whatever you want. You can work whenever you want. But common mistakes that I see from a lot of upcoming barbers is that they still try to do it part-time, and then they try to do like another job part-time. And I understand it. I'm not saying that it's a mistake. I understand it. Like, they want to have that steady income and then try to make this work.
Yeah.
But if you really want the barbering to work, you have to sacrifice a year or two to get to the level of being a fully booked barber by being available. So you kind of just have to sacrifice being at the shop, even if you're not getting paid every day. Like, you want to get paid. Maybe you'll just do 1 or 2 haircuts that day, because I went through it.
Were there days where maybe like you didn't get a client at all
Oh,
day?
for sure. Yeah. There was days that I was like, I would doubt myself. I was like, damn, is this did I make the right decision?
Second guessing.
Yeah, because I was making really good money at BMW. So I was like, is this what I wanted? But I feel like once you overcome that, you'll be fine. Yeah. And then that's why like most barbers here in Watson were the ones that are, already, I mean, I call them OGs, the ones that are fully booked and, they went through that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I went through it. We all go through it. It's just, you got to be patient for like a year or two.
Yeah.
And just take that hit. That's one common mistake is, I guess you can say, like not jumping on it 100% or full time. Another mistake is like the skills, that just comes natural.
Yeah.
And by natural, I mean like it has to come from you. It's just like any other.
It's a craft.
Yeah. It's just like any other craft, bro. Like if you want to get better at it, you got to put in the time. You got to research, watch YouTube videos. You got to practice. A lot of people nowadays, I feel like some upcoming barbers is like, they're like, oh, well, I'm a barber, and they expect people to come and like just come and sit in your chair. And like, it doesn't work like that. Yeah. You got to really go out there and try to like, put your name out there and like tell them like, hey, bro, I'm a barber. Like,
you got a network.
I'm just learning. Is it cool if I'll give you a free haircut, and that's how you're gonna like get better at that for the skills. I would do that. My first year, I was doing free haircuts left and right.
Yeah. So you're a rookie, or you're learning, you're making your mistakes, right? You're doubting, right? At some point where you're just like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm screwed this crap. Like I don't think I can do it.
No, just because I'm very like if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I gotta do it. Like I have to make it happen. I'm very like strong minded. So no, I never gave up like that. Especially because I knew this is what I wanted.
Yeah.
Did I suffer financially? Of course. Mm-hmm. Did I suffer mentally? Of course. But like I said, you just gotta have patience and overcome it.
Yeah.
Eventually, if you're just available and you're there, eventually people start taking you serious, and they're like, okay, like this guy's getting better and better with his skills, but he's also like always available. Like he wants this. Like he's always in his chair, ready to, like if somebody comes in, he's ready to take them.
Yeah.
And
did some of the skills, right? Because we learn skills, and how to handle pressures from sports, right? What was the key thing that helped you during that time? What translated over, and what skill translated over to help you navigate those early on tough times?
It's like when you're gonna play a final, and you're like, let's see if like this is it. Like let's see if we're gonna win or not. And let's say you're losing 1-0, is it gonna break you or make you?
Yeah.
So I kind of took that into barbering, if you want to translate it that way. And it was the same way. It was just kind of like when I was suffering, like what I said, I would just be like, just keep going, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna win. Like, just keep going.
Yeah, never give up.
Never give up.
Because like they say, right, in sports and different sports, it's all the same. You play into the last whistle.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're gonna go down, you go down swinging, and who knows, maybe you're just gonna score 2 goals.
Yeah.
And that's how you overcome. So,
that's true.
You're in it. You get over that hump eventually, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, you get over that hump. You start gaining clientele. You stay consistent.
Exactly.
Right. Consistency, I think, is the theme of this conversation. How long before you're like, on my own spot? And how do you? What was that moment like? At what point were you like, you know what, I want my own spot?
Well, I'm gonna be real with you. Since I went to barber school, I already knew I wanted my own spot. Because, like I said, coming from my mom,
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted my own spot eventually, but it also comes with time.
Yeah.
I knew that I couldn't just get my own spot in a heartbeat. I had to like first, get a little bit better with my skills. Secondly, like get a little bit, be a little bit more booked. And then 3, luckily, I already knew how to like somewhat know how the business runs, paperwork wise, because I would always help my mom with hers since I was like 16, 17, because I believe I was like 16, 17 when she got her salon. And she doesn't speak English, so I was the one that I would always be like getting her licenses and all that good stuff. So I had that in my back pocket. But it's just, when it's the time to like take that next step. But it was definitely took some time. It wasn't kind of like
an overnight thing.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I think after I graduated at barber school, it took me about a year to open up my own spot.
Okay.
But I was grinding that whole year, like no vacations, no nothing. I was focusing on getting better with my haircuts. I was focusing on building my clientele.
Yeah.
And just, I wanted people to take me really serious because I was taking it really serious.
Yeah. And when you make that decision and you go off, how difficult is it? Because to open up a business, I think just from talking to people and even just maintaining a business, a local business, nonetheless, it takes work. It's hard.
Yeah.
And what were the hardships of that process? You're looking for a spot. You're obviously negotiating, and you got to find that right sweet spot. So take me through that process of opening and the blueprints and everything of opening a business.
Once you decide, and it doesn't have to be just for a barbershop, but once you decide of what type of business you want to open, you start doing your research of like, where is the right spot for the type of business that you're trying to open. I would literally grab a piece of paper, and I'm old school, bro, so I still write everything down.
Yeah.
So I would just tell myself, okay, it's a barbershop. Where is the spot in Watson that there's the most foot traffic? And it's downtown. So I was like, for an upcoming barbershop, downtown, it has to be the spot. And that's where I started looking for spots. Luckily, at the time, I got really blessed because my mom's friend was selling her beauty salon. And I basically took over her beauty salon. But keep in mind, it's a beauty salon, not a barbershop. And I'm trying to open up a barbershop. It's a whole complete
two different things.
Yeah, the setup and the inside is the same, but the business model is way different because you're catering different people. So I had to, I still built it from scratch, even though it was already a beauty salon, because I literally took no clients from that business. But once you find a location and you're able to, lock in a deal, then obviously, you get all the permits and all that good stuff. When I first started the barbershop, I was there by myself. I was there by myself for a couple of months. And then I started getting I got one of my good friends to come in with me. Then I got another barber to come in with me. So it was 3 at one point. And it was a really small barbershop. To be honest, I just wanted to have like max 4 or 5 barbers.
Yeah.
But I got really blessed, and more barbers wanted to work there. So, I mean, at this point right now, I have like 12 barbers at this current location.
Yeah. Where was the first spot at? It was on Main Street.
Correct.
Where on Main Street was it?
It was on Main Street. It was right next to where Goodwill's at?
Yeah.
So right next to it, like on the left side.
Okay.
And then I outgrew that spot, so it was time to get a bigger spot. And once I was able to get a bigger spot, that's when I was like, all right, I need to make some space for the other guys because we were too crowded in the small one.
Yeah.
But it took some time. It didn't happen from one day to another.
Yeah.
By the time that happened, I was already like 6 to 9 months in.
Okay, so pretty quick. I mean, it took time,
Yeah,
but like if you look at it at the timetable, it kind of sped up and kind of happened really, really quick.
exactly.
Yeah. So now you're still on Main Street, and you're next to the Mansion House.
Correct.
It's like right there. And I've been there. You've cut my hair a few times. You got some good flow, right?
Yeah.
You got some good flow. It seems like there's good energy in there. People coming in. But that's not the only one you got.
No.
So so you got a few,
Correct.
right? So you go from opening your own spot, right? And then how do you just, hey, I'm gonna open up another spot? How does that go about? It's a little bit easier, right? Because you already know this, how to do it and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I already have the blueprints.
Blueprints.
The other shop is just like the shop, the same business model. I knew, or my goal is to start like my own franchise. So I told myself, that I wanted to open up a shop, at least one shop every year, which I've been doing so far. This year, though, you've seen how crazy it's been.
Yeah.
The markets, that's like a roller coaster. I mean, I don't know if you want to take it there with all this politics stuff, but I don't think I'll be opening up a shop this year just because I still don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
There's tariffs and all this stuff, so I'd rather just
kind of lay low.
Yeah, just lay low.
With what you got.
Exactly. Just right now, I mean, I'm in a good position to just stay stagnant where I'm at. It would have been nice to open up a third location this year, but just the U.S. is a little out of hand right now. So it's not. I mean, as a businessman, it's not the time to try to play it safe. Yeah. Sorry, I want to play it safe. It's not the time to try to take that risk.
Okay, and so now you got two locations.
Correct.
Right, and you got one here in town, and also one in Los Baños.
Correct.
Right. How do you manage both? How do you manage, because you're here in Watsonville 90% of the time, 100% of the time?
I'm going to say like 60, 70.
60, 70% of the time. And the other time you're over there.
Correct.
So how do you, well, you split your time, but how do you manage, back and forth?
It's a barbershop, so there's not much maintenance. I rent the stations. So it's an easy business to run. It's not like a business that it's like, oh, I need to be there 24/7.
Micromanage it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not too hard to manage both. To be honest, I'm so blessed with the barbers that I have in both shops. They're amazing people.
Yeah.
And they both help me a lot with keeping the shops clean and just behaving and doing what they got to do. Because at the end of the day, we're there to make money, bring some food to our table.
Yeah.
So when I hire the barbers, I do try to like interview them and just make sure that it's the right fit for by association only. Which is honestly, I always tell my barbers, I'm like, we just gotta respect our business. That way people can respect our business. Because if we respect what we do, our craft, they're gonna see it and it's gonna reflect on them. They're gonna be like, okay, like we're gonna respect these guys because they respect us.
Yeah. So you're
and that's one of the keys to business, to be honest. For small businesses like ours, like people call it mom and pop shops or whatever. But in any little small business, it doesn't matter what you do. If you're able to like do that, that's a key point to be successful.
Yeah. So respect is your business model, right? And your, I guess, expectation that the accountability that you hold for your employees, people that are renting out. I got to ask, because there's a lot of barbers, right? And like I said, everyone's just trying to bring in, money. They're trying to feed their families. And maybe this is a hot take, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But is there competition, like a sense of competition in the barber field? Because not only is yours on Main Street, but there's a few other ones, right?
There's about like five
Five on Main Street.
Yeah, just on Main Street.
Yeah.
In total here in Watsonville, you're probably looking like at 15 barbershops.
Yeah.
There's a lot of barbershops. We're a Latino community, like we said before. Us Latinos, we like to have our haircuts. You know, most of us like to be fresh, you know. So that's why all these shops are able to like stay somewhat, you know, in business.
Yeah.
Which is good. And I'm happy that we're all like able to like stay there. I hate to see when a shop closes. But just being in a community, in a Latino community, is what helps.
Yeah. Because
now if you move to Santa Cruz, there's a little bit more of Caucasians, and they cut their hair like, you know, once every 3 months and once every 6 months. Not every single person, but just talking in, you know, general. So I guess you can say the need is a little bit less for barbershops over there. There's, I think that I know of, there's probably only like 5 barbershops in that area, Santa Cruz area, compared to here in Watsonville. Like we're talking where there's like at least 15.
Yeah. And
they're all super busy. So it's like, is there competition wise? I mean, yes, obviously, you know, we're all in the same field. So there's competition. I mean, we're always going to be competitive with each other, but there's still enough food for all of us to eat.
Yeah. 15 barbershops. You got like maybe, let's say 12, you know, max. But there's what, like 100,000 people maybe in Watsonville. So there's enough to go around.
Exactly. Yeah. One barber can't cut everybody. Yeah. Or one barbershop can't cut everybody. Yeah. So, you know.
Yeah. Because it's funny because my dad, he's old school. The barbershop that I used to go to, he used to take me as a kid, he used to go to, was at the East Lake Shopping Center, that little one next to the liquor store. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah, I don't know the name, but I know exactly where it's at.
Yeah, and the guy that cut his hair was an older guy was around for years, and my dad was going to him for years, and he retired. Oh, you know, like
and is this like just one of the barbers or the barbershop owner?
One of the barbers.
Okay.
He was the barbershop owner.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, he was old already. Like, he retired like years ago. Say about like 20 years ago.
Okay.
But my dad, he's very picky about his hair.
Yeah.
So since that barber retired, I mean, my dad's gone through like crap ton of barbers. He jumps around because he's very particular about his hair, you know, and as everyone should be, right? You want to look good, feel good, play good, you know?
Exactly.
And so he goes around to different barbers, and what he loved the most was being able to walk in.
Okay.
You know, but now with that technology and everyone's, you know, everything is kind of going paperless, and now you got to book your appointments.
Exactly.
And so how has booking and doing everything online changed the game for barbers? Has it taken a hit? Because you still got some old school guys like my dad who just like, dude, they just want to walk in, you know, 3 in line. All right, you know, I'll wait and then have that barbershop talk, you know. But it's kind of changed since he's been around. So has that changed in a way, and has it kind of hurt barbershops or the clientele?
I feel it's good and bad. The good thing about it is that as a consumer, as a client, you're in and out. You make your appointment, you show up, the barber should be ready for you, and you're in and out.
Yeah.
I feel what we lost was the culture. Because like you said, that barbershop talk. And it's funny because I'm currently, because I still cut on my mom's salon, and my mom is walk-ins. And when I cut there, I get to see how the people that are waiting, they get to talk to each other about anything that's going on in life. It's kind of like networking.
Yeah.
Because you never know who's sitting there, you know, waiting to get a haircut. It could be a lawyer. It could be, you know, just a random guy that, you know, it could be a janitor, but it's fun, you know, because everybody's there and like talking. Now I go to my barbershop where all my barbers are running through the app Booksy. So over here, all you see is people in and out, in and out, in and out.
Yeah.
Because they have their appointment and they're in and out. So there's not that. I guess the only people that get to have that barbershop talk is the ones that are sitting on the chair.
Yeah.
But it's not the same. It's just, I feel like the culture, that part of the culture, kind of faded away a little bit.
Yeah.
But for barbers, it is really cool. I'm not gonna lie, because when I go to my mom's, I don't know how my day looks like. It's either gonna be super busy or super dead.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how much money I'm gonna make compared to when I go work at the barbershop, where I run it through a Booksy app. And before, like, let's say tonight, I go home and I'm able to check my Booksy and see who I'm going to cut tomorrow, how many cuts I have. It even tells me how much money I'm going to make. So that's, it's a little balance where it's like the new generation of barbers, they're obviously like, they don't know how the other model works.
Yeah.
So for them, it's like that model doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
But I got to experience that because when I was growing up here in Watsonville, there was only like 3 barbershops.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember my dad would take me to, by the way, I used to hate getting haircuts because I was there for like 3, 4, sometimes 5 hours, bro.
I remember that.
And then there's some barbers that they had a rule: if you pay double, you skip the whole line. And my dad never paid double, so sometimes I was stuck there for so many hours. But anyways, I do remember going to the barbershop and sitting there for 3 hours. But I mean, I was young, so what the adults were talking about, I didn't really
over the head.
Yeah, I wasn't able to. It was adult talk,
Yeah.
So, but I felt like if I was older at the time, like my dad, he would have a great time. I felt like for him, those 2-3 hours was nothing, because they would be talking about boxing, sports, whatever it is that was going on that weekend or that week. So yeah, that side of the culture definitely faded away.
Yeah, you seen the movie Barbershop with,
of course,
with Ice Cube. Yeah, that's if anyone that doesn't know what we're kind of talking about, watch Barbershop. All right, and that's the kind of vibe and feel that we used to have here in Watsonville. Yeah. I agree too. Yeah, I mean, shoot, 2 hours.
There used to be shoe cleaners that would polish your shoes while you were getting a haircut.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that faded away.
Yeah, they used to have a small, old school TV, and they'd have a game or whatever, like whatever's going on that day. Mm-hmm. Especially like on the weekend, you go get your haircut on the weekend, you got a game on. I mean, shoot, you're there for the entire time.
Exactly.
And so I do miss that. I agree. That's a part of the culture, the history that I wish the younger generation, even like barbers, right, you probably would experience that, because it goes back to like that whole networking. And
it's just, you fast forward to 2025 and like everybody is living life at a really fast pace. Mm-hmm. We're all on a time limit, and sadly we're I always tell my mom, I'm like, I go to Mexico for like a week or two, and the people over there don't even have a watch on their wrist. And you come here, you have one.
I got to watch.
I don't do it on purpose because I hate looking at the time, bro. Just because I feel like time here in America is your boss. Time is everything. And then I go to Mexico, like I said, and it's so relaxing over there. Nobody cares about the time, bro.
Yeah.
And the day feels long, and everything's like chill.
Yeah. So you're established. You got two shops, and you're also helping out at your mom's.
Correct.
Beauty salon, so you're out there. So technically, you're like working 3, right? And you're splitting your time. You're working for financial freedom, right?
Correct.
The freedom to be able to pick and choose when and how you spend your time.
Correct.
And you have that, and you decide to use your time to go to the high schools and speak.
Correct. I was
gonna say, like, so how? When did that happen? What made that a thing that you wanted to do?
Well, to be honest, is because a lot of people tell me, like, Andy, you're, like, kind of like you just said, like, bro, you have 2 shops. Like, what are you doing? Still cutting hair? I love cutting hair.
Yeah.
I still do it full time. more than full time, to be honest. And I feel like I'm still kind of young, so I feel like I got to keep working. I got to keep working. I feel like I'm not content yet with what I have, and I know what I want, and I'm still far from my goals. I decided to go to schools just because I feel getting my message, or whatever little that I know or advice that I can give to the youth. I always give it to the people that sit in my chair, but that's only a handful, of the youth,
Yeah, and that's like one at a time,
Exactly. So I decided to start, going to schools, and not just for barbering. Honestly, when I'm there, barbering is what, I start talking about, but my message at the end of the day is just, I tell these kids, like, do what you love.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing it, and I'm having fun, and luckily financially, I'm doing really well. I do have freedom, but I'm deciding not to use that freedom. I'm deciding to still keep working.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I'm not where I want to be.
Yeah.
Yet, so I just gotta keep working. But
yeah, you still got that hunger.
Right? Oh yeah,
yeah.
Because just a couple 2-3 days ago, one of my barbers here in Watsonville asked me, he's like, Andy, I wish I was in your shoes, and I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, yeah, bro, you're set. And I was like, no, I'm actually not set, bro. I was like, I'm here working my ass off just like you are every day. I'm still working full time. I'm still it's kind of like when I don't know if you've ever wanted something so bad.
Yeah.
It could be like anything simple, like a pair of shoes or a hat, and you get it, and you get that little oh hell yeah, I got it. But then a week or 2 weeks pass by, and you kind of don't have
it fades away.
Yeah, that whatever feeling you were feeling for it kind of fades away. That's how it is with me with my businesses. I feel like, not that I don't love them. I mean, obviously I'm still doing it. It's just I feel like I'm not.
You're always striving to do better.
Correct.
Right? To better yourself, better your craft. You're a sponge, right?
Yeah.
And you just want to keep on learning and keep on improving.
Yeah.
I want to say something about a sports figure, right? Jerry Rice, right? Greatest NFL player, football player of all time. Not just a wide receiver, but just a player. His model, I saw a video one time, was that he was always working out off season every day, and he would run this incline trail at the age of 30, 40, and even the young cats, young wide receivers couldn't keep up with them.
Damn.
And they asked him so, dude, you already hold all the records.
Yeah.
You're already the best player. Why do you keep working hard, and why do you keep on pushing yourself, right? And his response was, I could always get better.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a Hall of Famer. Yes, I got Super Bowl rings. Yes, I got the records, but I could be better.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hearing from you, is that not that you haven't made it, but you're reaching the top, but you can go higher. You can go better.
Yeah, especially from being from a small town like we are. Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna try to push it to see where I can be, and just try to be a role model while I do it at the same time. I feel like there's a lot of small business shop owners here, or just for whatever they own, but they don't really come out and I mean, everybody's different.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it out of my heart to come and talk to the kids. And
what's the most common question you get asked when you're talking to these kids?
How much does a barber make? That's the number one question.
Yeah.
That they ask me. And I always tell them, it's up to you.
Yeah.
It's up to you. There's celebrity barbers that make $300,000, $400,000. There's barbers that make $30,000. It's really up to you. It's your business. It's your model. You can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
It's just, you really have to put in the work, because a guy that's doing $30,000, he's not doing what the guy that's making $300,000 doing.
Yeah.
This guy is probably doing content, marketing, social media, he's doing it all.
Yeah.
Compared to the one that's just in the chair waiting for somebody to come sit on his chair.
Yeah. You get back however much you put in.
Exactly.
And what's been one of the, aside from how much you make, has there been a question or a moment where just like, this is why I'm doing this? This is a question that really got to you, and you're like, you know what? This is why I do what I do.
Let me think, because when I go out there, I always get really good questions. To be honest, there's a few different questions, but one that really caught my eye was actually at Renaissance, and there was a guy. You can tell that he was going through like the wrong path.
Yeah.
He was going through like the path of like being a gangster, and that route. And when I went there that day, out of all the people, I didn't think he was the one that was going to come talk to me after, because you can tell he had an ego, and like in his head it was like, bro, like who cares? But when I was done doing my presentation, he came up to me at the end of the presentation, and he was like, Andy, how do you, or like, what made you be a barber? And I told him, everything that I'm saying here. And then he was like, I think I want to be a barber, bro. I've always thought about it. I think like my friends are going to like make fun of me. And I was like, why? And he was like, oh, and that's when he was telling me that was because, I basically like, I'm in gangs, like, I was like, well, that's when I felt that like I need to give this guy like an eye opener, so and I give him the advice that I gave him, but that's when I felt what you're saying is kind of like, oh damn, like today I didn't come here to present what I wanted to present to this class. I actually was sent here to change this guy's perspective of like what he's doing and what he should be doing. So stuff like that, bro.
Yeah. It's like sometimes like it's not, we go to these places, right? And we think we're going to change everyone's life, but sometimes it's just like that one.
Yeah.
That's just all it is that you're there for that one.
Yeah. And it's funny because like to me, that was a highlight of the whole day that I was there for like 2-3 hours, but out of everything the next day, that's the only thing that I remembered was, I remember everything, but like, that's what like, that was my highlight. Yeah. To me, there was like, damn. And I even told the guy, I was like, hey, bro, this is my Instagram. This is my number, bro. Like, reach out, which he did. He actually came and got a haircut like 2 weeks after that. And I believe I gave him like some clippers. And yeah, I just told him, I was like, bro, like, do what you want, bro. Don't be like, friends are temporary. Like, they're, some.
Yeah.
Coming from gangs, it could be temporary. Yeah. Some of these kids, they don't have that guidance, so they just kind of just follow whatever they think that guidance is. And sometimes, sadly, even here in Watsonville, gangs is like where they take it, and they think that that's their family, that's their friends, and it's really not.
Yeah,
it's really not. So I don't know. Just me being able to give that guy advice was like really, really cool.
Yeah, yeah. How important is that, right? Let's touch more into that, of surrounding yourself with people, especially like coming up, right? I'm pretty sure you've had people that are like, Andy, barber, whatever, dude, like you're not going to do it. Or, you've had doubters.
Of course.
Yeah. We all have doubters at some point.
My mom was a doubter of me.
No way.
Yeah. She literally laughed at me when I told her that I wanted to go to barber school. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what fueled me to even like do it and like be where I'm at right now.
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough, especially coming from a parent.
Yeah, because it's because, like I said, I was like 26, 27, and she was like, "What? Like you've been doing what like I was in the car industry for years, She was like, "Dude, you're too old." I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "You're too old. You can't become a barber at 26, 27." I was like, "What?" No,
Mom, you're supposed to be on my side here.
This is a true story. And even when I was going to school, she was amazed. She was like, "Damn, like you're really doing it." And it's funny because I feel like now, like I surpassed her.
Uh-huh.
The reason why I have 2 shops, not just one, is because of her. Because I'm like, no, my mom had options, or she had opportunities to like have multiple shops, and she always denied them, because she would always tell me like, you can't be in 2 spots at the same time.
Yeah.
And to me at the time, I was like, because I would tell her like, Mom, like take over, because it was some of these salons were her friends, closing them down for whatever reason, and she never wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was coming up, my mom was a doubter, so I told myself like, not only am I going to become better at cutting men's haircuts than my mom, but I'm also going to own multiple shops, just to show her that you could do it.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at right now. And now she's like,
how's that conversation go?
Oh, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun. Well, I mean, she's my mom. I love her.
Yeah.
And like I said, like just her. Well, even when I was gonna go pass my test, because my sister, she's also in the same industry. My mom and her both passed the test, the cosmetology test, and the first try. When I was gonna go take my state test, my mom was like, "You better pass it on the first try, because me and your sister did it." And I was like, "Damn."
The pressure's on.
So, dude, I was studying like crazy. I was like, okay, my mom is my biggest doubter. Like, I didn't even care about other people. I was like, dude, my mom is my doubter, bro. Like I don't even care about like my friends, or like
that's the ultimate pressure.
Yeah, So, but that was also the biggest blessing, because I was like, all right, like I'm doing this for my mom. Like I'm gonna improve my mom.
Yeah. What'd your dad say?
My dad's super chill.
Yeah,
I love my dad, bro. He's super chill. He's very he'll support whatever you're trying to do in life. He's always done that. I've done like 4 different careers in my life. I didn't mention it, but I was also a medical assistant for a couple of years. And every time I would jump from one thing to my dad, he was kind of like, just as long as you're happy.
Yeah.
Like, Dad, I might take a pay cut. It's okay, as long as you're happy. Yeah. As long as it's something that you want to do. So yeah, no, my dad's super, super chill.
Yeah. Medical assistant. So you go from selling cars to medical assistant.
I was selling car parts. Then I became a medical assistant. Then I went into the car industry at dealerships. Then I became a barber.
Okay, so there was a bit of a journey, quite a bit of journey, you know. And like I mentioned earlier, like sometimes like you're gonna have to go through those different jobs, and you're gonna have to work things that you don't like, and there's gonna be moments where you're not gonna be happy.
Yeah, because some of my old coworkers from the car business, they look at me now and they're like, Andy, what happened, bro? Like, how did you went from like this wearing a uniform to like now you're like this persona, like this, you're a whole different person.
This barber mogul.
Yeah. And I'm like, bro, I just been working my ass off, bro. Like, I don't know. I work every day. I know what I want to do, and where I want to take this in, or how deep I want to be in this industry, and like what impact I want to do in this industry. So I'm just slowly just checking.
Yeah, and you love what you do, like you said. So like, it's not even work. Like,
it's really not.
You get excited to go to work. I got a question. Maybe not. Maybe it's in your to-do list, but maybe opening up a barber school.
Oh no, yeah, that's on my to-do list.
That's on your to-do list.
Yeah, that's like the thing that I think about every day.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like I'm prepping for that as we're speaking, as we do all this, like all these questions that you're asking me, like why am I going to schools, why am I opening up barbershops? It's just there is already schools. I just feel like that when I open up my school, there's already going to be like a big hype for it.
Yeah.
Why? Is because I'm already creating this relationships in schools. I'm already creating, I already have barbers under my belt. I already have barbershops. Yeah. My goal is to have 3 to 5 barbershops before I open up the school. That way I can, once I open up my school, I can offer my students a job.
Yeah.
Because there's no school right now that can do that.
Yeah.
And before my brother passed away, he's actually the one that gave me that idea. He was the one that he asked me, he's like, Andy, like, what's your goal? And I told him, I was like, I just open up a barbershop and that's it. He's like, bro, like don't just do that. He's like, you should do this. You should open up a ton of barbershops, then open up a school, and then send those barbers to your shops. So your shops are always full.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn.
That's a good pipeline.
Yeah,
right there.
exactly. So, and then me going to schools already, doing all these job fairs and just talking to teenagers, just it's already like I'm reeling them in slowly, but like I'm still doing it out of my heart. I'm not just doing it as like, oh, it's a business.
There's a purpose and a reason behind it, right? Not just like making money.
And people know when it's genuine, bro.
Yeah.
Like you can't bullshit people.
Yeah. Yeah. School here in Watsonville, opening it up.
Yeah. Here in Watsonville. I feel like Watsonville deserves it just because there's no barber school here in Watsonville. So yeah, definitely Watsonville. And I honestly can't wait, dude.
Yeah.
Like this is something that's in my head every single day. Every time I wake up, I'm always like school. Mm-hmm. But it's patience, bro.
Yeah, patience.
I feel like the right time will come.
Yeah.
When it's time.
Yeah.
And for now, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. But that's definitely in my head.
Yeah. No, that's good. I think like you said, going to the schools, talking, career day, just going to these job fairs. I think that's very important because you're right. Like these kids, they need that guidance. They need that what to do next, right? And even if it's just like a conversation.
Yeah, and when I go to schools, I try to mainly talk to the seniors. And my first question that I ask them is, do you guys know what you guys are doing as soon as you guys graduate? Because I normally go like in the last month, and bro, dead silence. Only like one or two will raise their hand and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to so and so for agriculture," or I'm gonna, and it's like, and right away I'm like, cool, like that. That's awesome. That you guys already know what you guys want to do. And then I tell the rest of you guys, the rest of them, I'm like, bro, the rest of you guys didn't raise their hands, maybe because you're shy or maybe because you legit don't know what you want to do. I'm like, it's okay. Like, it's totally fine. I did that.
Yeah.
When I graduated, I had no clue what I wanted to be.
Yeah. Hey, and it's a funny story because even myself, dude, I'm like 35. We're the same age.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I knew what I wanted to do at the age of 26, 27. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this. But then fast forward like 2-3 years ago, still, that idea that I wanted to become whatever it is I wanted to become, that changed.
Okay.
And even now it's like doing this, like this is what I want to do. Okay. And this took I'm at the age of 32 to figure out what I wanted to do permanently. So like that's for anyone out there listening, it's like, hey, you're never too old.
You're never too old.
Never too old. Heck, one of the many successful business owners over years got their start late.
Yep.
And
everything happens for a reason, bro.
Yeah.
Sometimes, because I've gotten that question asked before, we're like, oh, Andy, I'm pretty sure that if you would have started being a barber when you were 18 by now, you would have been like way up there. And then sometimes, or my response to that is like, maybe not. Maybe yes, maybe no. I mean, who knows? But I think not. I'm like, I honestly don't think so. I feel like if I would have been a barber at the age of 18, I would have probably like not taken it serious. I would have, because I was still young. I was still, partying, doing whatever I was doing. I feel like I wouldn't have done or been doing what I'm doing right now in the industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, no,
everything in its due timing. Depending on where we're at. Shoot, one of my favorite stories is like the KFC guy, Colonel Sanders.
Oh, dude, I know that story.
68 years old and he started KFC. What other ones? Jeff Bezos, at the age of 40 started Amazon. So you got all these people, right? Yeah. And don't take it fast, right? Like I said, everyone lives in this fast lifestyle and they want the microwave effect. Yeah. Right? Throw it in, 2 minutes, bam, it's ready. Yeah. But sometimes you got to get in the kitchen, you got to roll up your sleeves and you got to read the recipe.
Yeah.
You know?
Take your time. Take your time. I feel like the more you wait, it's good and bad.
Because you got to know when to and when.
Yeah. But you just feel it, man. Like, I feel like you just feel it. Like, for example, I remember the first time I cut your hair, we were talking about you doing this. And I was just like, bro, like, just do it. Like, yeah. And I remember you were like, oh, but I don't have this and I don't have that. And I'm like, bro, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
like do it with whatever you got. You know, like everything just starts coming. Like it's like a puzzle. Like the puzzle will start coming. You just gotta start doing it.
Consistency.
Like it's like, for example, with me, like when I opened up the shop, I only had 3 chairs. Then I had 6 other barbers I want to work there. I didn't have the chairs for them.
Yeah.
But you know, the puzzles were coming in. You know, so just gotta get the ball rolling, bro.
And like you said, like everything in its due timing. Like, I do believe that everything happens for a reason, and you know, like you said, like our conversation, you know, everything lines up to like those moments where you interact with someone, even if you know it's for whatever reason, you cross paths with someone, and I think that having that conversation kind of got me thinking, like, you know what, like he's right, and I'm thankful to God that people have been put in my life for seasons, for multiple seasons. It doesn't matter for how long, you know, but whatever time they've been in my life, they've played a part to like what it is I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Right. And like even with season 3, this is season 3, you know, from season 2 to season 3, like I only waited a week, right, in between, but that consistency, just jumping back in and just doing it.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I've seen your growth on Instagram, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just being consistent, bro.
Yeah.
It's the only way you're going to, I mean, this is for anybody, you know, any industry is just, if you're being consistent, that's when people start taking you serious. Cause it's like, all right, this guy's serious about this. Like he's really doing it.
Yeah. Andy, when Andy's not working, when Andy's not, cutting hair and going back and forth, what is it that brings you back to baseline, brings you back to zero?
I still play soccer, man. Soccer is a big thing. Hanging out with my family. I don't have that much time to hang out with them, but whenever I do appreciate that time. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, to be honest. I don't do much. I do wish I had a little bit more time, but like I said, right now I'm just in
work mode.
I'm only 34. I feel like I'll have that when I'm in my 40s, hopefully. Like once I'm already like, once I start checking more of my my to-do list, or what's on my to-do list. For now, to be honest, I don't take that much time off, but the only day that I take off is Sunday, and that's when I get to hang out with my family. Or I don't really have that. I mean, I guess I do reset on Sunday. Yeah. But even on Sundays, I'm just like, I'll go cut hair, bro. Yeah. So, but I guess
it's a lifestyle.
It is. And luckily it doesn't feel like it's work. Like, you know, we've been talking about it, but, I do see myself, I feel like one day, once I start accomplishing everything that I want to accomplish, I feel like I do want to, you know, eventually like start traveling. I do want to, you know, go to Europe, you know, do all this cool stuff that I see some of my friends doing right now.
Yeah.
Or even some of my clients, like they're like my age, and they're like always going to vacations and you know enjoying life, which is not bad. I'm not doing that right now, but like I said, once I feel like it's my time, you know, that's when I'm actually gonna really go out there and, you know, enjoy myself.
Yeah. Takes time, right?
Yeah,
you'll get there. I want to ask you about your name of your business. It's called By Association Only, right?
Correct.
So what made you come up with that name? What was the thought process behind that name?
It's actually super cool. In one of my mom's rooms, my room in her house, I have a board, and I had 3 names, and By Association Only was the last one. And I got that name from an Italian mafia movie.
Uh-huh.
And I just remember seeing it. It's funny because they asked me this question in every podcast that I've done. But so anyways, I was watching this Italian mafia. I love watching Italian mafia movies, by the way. But there was this guy that wanted to go talk to the boss, and before he went inside the door, there was a small little print that said By Association Only. And then, of course, I had 2 security guards in the front. Yeah. But it wasn't even like a thing that like the camera zoomed into. It was just kind of like it was there, and I saw it. And when I saw it, it just made me feel like I felt like it felt cool. Like it felt like, oh damn, like you have to be associated, to be able to walk in there, and be part of that culture or community or whatever it is. So that's where I grabbed it. That's what I got, where I got it from.
Yeah.
And I remember I told a couple of my friends, and they were like, "Bro, that's way too long." I was like, I know, but I like it. I was like, it sounds cool. Like it's got, like it has some kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
And I told my son, and he liked it. He was like, "Dad, I like it. I can see that in merch,
Yeah.
So and I went for it.
Yeah.
And so far, like every time I see, or not that I see, but when people ask me, or they see the name, they're like, "Bro, that's a really cool name."
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Like it makes you feel a certain type of way.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of like, that's right. Like I'm associated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
yeah. It's a special club,
It is. Yeah.
It's like, I got a Costco membership. What's up?
Yeah. No, it really is.
Yeah. What were the other two names, if you don't mind me asking? Did you ever put them out there?
Damn. This was like, what, a couple years ago. I think one of them was going to be like the Barber's Lounge. And just because at first I was like, oh, remember how I said I only wanted to have like 2-3 barbers?
Yeah.
And I was like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a pool table here, and I'm going to make it half barbershop, but also the other half where like other barbers can come and hang out.
Yeah.
Just play, put a TV up and just be a barber's lounge where barbers can come and hang out.
Yeah.
Not just a barbershop. So I was going to call it that, a barber's lounge, because at the time I was just thinking like, okay, what's going to be my business model? Like, what do I want this place to be? And I mean, right now I have a barbershop.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen it. I have it packed of barbers, and it's just a barbershop.
Yeah.
But at the time I was like, dude, I want to do something different, because there's 15 barbershops, like at least 15 barbershops here in town. I was like, what can I do that could be cool and different?
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I'm going to do a barber's lounge. And then I'm going to tell all the barbers, like, hey guys, whenever you guys want to come hang out, I'm going to have a little bar here. You guys can just come hang out. We can talk about barber stuff, something cool, just to have the barbers, the barber industry, like unite, and be together. Because I feel like even though a lot of us are cool with each other, we don't spend time with each other. And I don't know if it's like some of them feel some type of way of like, oh, we do the same thing. Like, we're low key
kind of like awkward.
Yeah, like we're competitors. We just say what's up to each other once in a while, like, hey, what's up? But I wanted to change that by doing that.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like, nah, like my barbershop is not just a barbershop. It's going to be a barber's lounge. Like, this is where we can all come and hang out.
Yeah.
Like just barbers,
Yeah.
But I ended up doing just a barbershop.
Yeah.
But that was going to be the other name. Other than that, to be honest, I forgot the first one.
Can a barber tell a barber apart? Like if you're walking down the street, that's a barber.
Nowadays, no.
Yeah.
I feel like nowadays, like barbers here in Watsonville, maybe. But I've met so many barbers. I've been to so many barber expos, and some of them dress really cool, like different. Like I feel like some of the barbers here in Watsonville have more of the hip hop culture.
Yeah.
But then, you go and meet other barbers and they dress way different.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
There's actually a barbershop in Fresno that I didn't go inside, but one of my barbers from Los Banos knows him, and I just peeped it real quick because we went to go eat out there. And when I looked inside there, everybody was dressed different, bro. Like there was one guy that looked like a rocker. There was one guy that looked like a skater. There was one guy that looked like a hip hop guy.
Yeah.
And one that looked like a Bob Martin. It was like the culture looked cool. I was like, damn, that's so cool. Because I feel like my barbershops, we're all kind of like almost the same. Like we all kind of dress the same. It's
the same kind of aesthetic,
the same vibe, which is cool. Yeah. But it's also cool when like you get all these different vibes. From like different barbers.
Yeah. And to kind of touch on that, because you've been on other podcasts, you had told me that you went to LA for a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But have you visited other places, barbershops, kind of seen how they run their stuff, how it is over there? And have you taken anything from learning from other barbers outside of this area?
Yes and no. I feel like all barbershops are the business model is pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really barbershops that run the business, because we're talking about the business side, right?
Yeah.
To be honest, most barbershops nowadays, they rent the booths. So no, I'm gonna say I haven't really grabbed anything. I mean, aesthetic wise, yeah. Like, oh, I like the way they, like the frame, or like, for example, the floors. I remember when I first walked into a shop that had restaurant floors, I was like, damn, this is really cool. Like, I want my floors to be just like this.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, yeah. But business models, they're all pretty much the same, to be honest.
Okay. And then I gotta ask, who's your barber? You cut your own hair?
No, everybody cuts my hair. Well, all my barbers, any of my barbers, my mom, my sister. Yeah, I don't have a personal barber, to be honest. Whoever's if I'm in Los Banos, whoever's available over there. If I'm in Watsonville, whoever's available here. If I'm a mom salon, if whoever's available, my sister or my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of just.
So I don't have. I wish I did though. I think it's really, really cool when you build that relationship, and you're like, oh, like this is the only, because I mean, obviously, like I'm a barber and like I have that relationship with more than 50% of my clientele, where like they only come to me not because of the haircut, but just because of that relationship.
Yeah.
But that haircut is obviously, it's like the purpose of like, oh, I'm gonna go get a haircut.
Yeah.
And when we're there, we don't. I mean, we're talking about random ass stuff. The haircut is just kind of like, well, yeah, obviously you're here. I'm gonna clean you up. Whatnot. But yeah, no, and I wish I wasn't a barber just so I can like have that.
Yeah.
But not, since I'm a barber and like I'm always on the go, I'm like, whoever.
Yeah. And then plus, you ever get like, I mean, how to, obviously, like how your hair is and how you want your hair, So you think they feel a little bit intimidating, like, all right, he knows what I'm doing, like I gotta make sure I gotta like do it right,
Yeah, and it's no, I do, especially when it's one of my newest hire people, barbers that I've hired. I feel like they do get a little nervous because every time they cut my hair the second time, they'll be like, oh, I'm gonna give you a better fade this time, bro. And I'll be like, what happened? Last time, like, I don't know, but I'm gonna give you a better one this time. And I'll be like, bro, like, I don't even care, bro. Like,
just do it. That's how you're gonna learn,
Yeah, like I'm not picky, bro.
Yeah.
I used to be picky when I was in high school. Now I'm older. I just need a haircut.
Don't mess up the boss's hair.
Yeah. I'm sure they tell that to each other, but nah, me personally, I don't really mind, bro.
Yeah.
I'm pretty chill. I mean, I just get my beard and a high fade.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Simple.
I'm not, like I said, in high school I was. I'm sure everybody. I mean, I get my high school clients that they're super picky, super, and I get it. I was there at that point. That's when they're starting to date girls and like care how they look. But I feel like once you're past like that stage and you're out of high school and out of college, you just need to clean up sometimes. You're like, oh, bro, I need a haircut. I have a party to go to, just for special occasions.
Yeah.
Compared,
I think I might need a little touch up, so I might
pull up, bro.
Couldn't come up.
No, but like I was saying, I do wish that I feel like if I wasn't a barber, I'm pretty sure I would have picked a barber out there that I would have built that strong relationship, and I would have only gone to him.
Yeah.
But
being a barber is having a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you gotta have a relationship with the barber because that's what keeps on coming back.
Exactly.
Coming back. Andy, so we come to that point of the show where and we kind of touched on it a little bit throughout the show, advice and what you talked about, to younger generation and all that. But if this is the advice, right? This is the words of wisdom that you leave people with, whether it's barbershop related, being a barber, which is life related. What is it that you bring to the table when you leave words of wisdom?
I mean, I always tell people it's not about who did it first. It's about who does it right. Because you can do it first, but you can do it wrong. And then sometimes it's because you weren't patient enough. It's kind of like a plant, you gotta water it, bro. You gotta watch it grow. And some people low key already buy that plant already grown and it might die.
Yeah.
So I always, just take your time with whatever you're doing. Put like all your passion into it. I mean, first of all, you have to be passionate about whatever it is that you want to do, but just do it right.
Yeah.
Do it right. Whatever you're doing, do it right. If it takes, it's kind of like when you're building a house, you know, you might build a wall, but if it's a little crooked, F it. You know, bring it down and do it. You know, do it again.
Measure twice, cut once.
Exactly. You know, until it's right. And I feel like anything in this world should be done just with patience. And take your time. So you don't have to do it again. My dad always tells me that lazy people work harder. Lazy people work double.
Yeah.
And I find that true because every time I did something half-assed, I had to come and redo it again.
Yeah.
And I would always remember my dad told me to do it right the first time instead of like, let me half-ass it and then, shit, now I got to come back and fix it. So, just doesn't matter who did it first. It's who does it right.
Yeah. There you go. You guys heard it there first. Give everyone a where they can find you, find the barbershop. What's your Instagram? Where can they find you?
You can find us in Watsonville, on Main Street, and in Los Banos. You can find us there as well. We're on the main street, which is Pacheco Drive, and our Instagram is by association only.
Yeah, there you go, guys. You guys need a haircut. You guys got a special date. You guys got a wedding. You got a quinceañera. You just want to look good, right? Look good, feel good, play good.
There you go.
By association only. You know where to go. Andy, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate you coming on here, man. I know this is a while, you know, in the making. You know, finally we're able to connect on this, but I appreciate you coming on. Everybody, thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. Andy, Anaya by association only. Talk to you guys later. God bless. See you guys in the next one.
Nice.